was 3.8 seconds. On this 4-litre car, it is exactly the same. The top speeds are almost exactly the same as well, both up in the high 190s. Truth.
And AMG has achieved this by using brains to make the brawn.
This car has 2 turbochargers. Normally, turbochargers would be bolted onto the outside of the engines, but on this car, they live inside the V of the engine. What this means is the engine is more compact, the turbos are more efficient. So this car costs £50,000 less than the old SLS, it uses a lot less fuel, and it still goes just as quickly. That is what they call on The Apprentice a win-win.
And then there's the styling, which also has a new level of sophistication, with an interior that's more James Bond than Fast and Furious.
On the outside, it's much the same story. These doors are perfectly conventional in and out sort of doors. They're not like those idiotic gull wing things you get on the SLS, which makes it look as if it's sniffing its own armpits. This rear spoiler is actually an option, but even that, by AMG standards, is quite discreet. In fact, the whole thing is quite pretty, quite classic even.
And now we must move on to cornering, an activity where AMG normally scores maximum points for mentalness.
This is, when all said and done, a 503 horsepower rear-wheel drive muscle car, and that sounds like a recipe for extreme trickiness.
In fact, you can corner quickly in this thing, and without soiling your trousers. Which, once again, is thanks to intelligent engineering.
In a normal car, the engine and the gearbox, they're just dead weight hanging in there, and they move around a bit and sort of spoil the balance as you go around corners. In this car, the mountings for all that stuff are active.
So, as you go through a bend, they stiffen up to keep all that weight in check.
It's a bit like the way a cat can walk along the top of a fence using its tail to keep itself in balance.
However, if, like Jeremy, you want to devour your